I'm Rod Bierman. I'm a principal at Offit Kurman, and I'm here with John Durante from Durante Rentals.
In '07, I started having trouble with the real estate, collecting rents. So of the 45 tenants, where I would start to evict, I would evict maybe one person every 2-3 months. I started evicting 1 to 2 people a month, and then all of a sudden, in '08, I was evicting maybe 2 to 3 people a month. And in hindsight, when everything crashed, I looked back and said, "Oh my God, I should have seen that something was changing and something was happening." So that the '08, '09 market was a really, really hard hit in real estate in New York, especially for me, because I really had everything invested in it, and it was a tough time to get through. So it was a double whammy for me, because April 15, 2007, there was a flood in Mamaroneck. The first flood came through and it sunk, the entire center of Mamaroneck. And I went down there to see how bad my building was, and I had 4 storefronts, 3 apartments, and a warehouse there, and the whole entire radius around me was sunk underwater. And somehow me and my 2 neighbors on Mamaroneck Avenue were just high enough that we didn't get hit. And it was amazing. And I looked at it and said, "Oh my God, we're literally we're a little island with water all around us." And I said, "Oh my God, God loves me. I can't believe this. He's really protecting me." And then it rained again 2 days later, and it wiped everything, including my buildings. It took everything out. So I said, "I guess I definitely wasn't the chosen one." I had a $50,000 deductible on a flood policy. That the stuff the flood policy would have covered came out to like $45,000. So I really didn't, the main insurance didn't cover. I got nothing from insurance. So everything came out of pocket. It took all of my savings to pretty much get through that over the next year and a half. Nobody wanted to rent the storefronts because everybody knew, any store coming in knew that there was 4 feet of water in the stores. So it was a very hard stigma to get past that, so I had vacant storefronts. I had mortgages that I had to pay and couldn't pay. And so at the same time, following that, rent started getting tougher to collect everywhere else. Lead up into that, then the crash of '08. So it was a trifecta of problems. When the crash happened, money was very, very hard to collect. So and the problem for me was I had everything leveraged. As long as my rents were coming in, I was making plenty of money. I easy to pay my mortgages. When the money wasn't coming in, it made paying the mortgages much tougher. Everything, the taxes, the insurance, the fuel. And then what would happen is the commercial tenants, rent was drastically decreased. And I'm going to say, almost to the tune of 50%, because it was, you saw they weren't making money. You walk in there, their stores were empty. So you had no choice. You either choose to lose them and not have anybody, or you reduce their rent. So the commercial tenants' rents were reduced. The residential tenants, it was just a nightmare to collect. So for 2 years, you weren't allowed to raise rent, so we're struggling. I can't pay my mortgages, I can't pay my bills. I understand that other people can't either, but there wasn't a check from the state saying, "Here's help for you, and you can't raise your rent." It was just, "No, you can't raise your rent." So it just made a tough situation even tougher. I understand my tenants were going through their problems as well, but it was just a very, very hard thing to get through.